If you've been posting content with the intent to be able to use that content to turn it into clients, you've probably realized that posting isn't enough. You need to actually have a full pipeline behind it and also a system that if someone joins and actually becomes part of that pipeline, for you to be able to convert them from a lead to a booked call, and of course a booked call to then eventually being a client. And there's a lot that goes into it. So in this video, I'm going to lay it out. Now, for each and every single platform that you work on, there is a different way to do it. Some platforms allow you to message people, others don't. For example, YouTube here, we can't really message people. Sure, we've got the comment section, but the feature that was available many, many years ago when YouTube was intended to be a dating site, there was a messaging feature. I remember being able to message subscribers and even do giveaways. We can't really do that anymore. So we need to have a mechanism where people discover our content, converts, and actually becomes part of a list that we can contact, and then we can be able to nurture and then ultimately go through and convert. This is what we have. This is the inbound pipeline. And it may seem a bit overwhelming, but it's exactly what I just went through and said. I'll highlight the path quickly, and then we'll also go through and then highlight the mechanism from how we turn someone who does actually become part of this pipeline to then actually book a call and how we actually get them warmed up. This can also tie into other paths when you have an inbound pipeline like this, especially with YouTube, where people are going to be Googling your name. If you do and run any ads or if you're doing cold outreach, that they can fall into this. But anyway, when we're going through and posting, we first start off with a video. So we're publishing videos. You can do additional stuff with shorts, but this is where just by posting more doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get that conversion, because shorts doesn't have a clickable link in the description. So there's no way in which you can actually go through, have a short around a content pillar and then a lead magnet. It always has to be going through and being able to put this as part of videos. So we have videos with clickable links in the description in which you probably already have content pillars. If not, I've got a previous video which breaks down exactly how to set up content strategies that will align with your target audience and will convert whilst attracting the right type of people. So that's where those content pillars come in. But you'll have lead magnets for each one, as well as an overall lead magnet, which will be there for your channel as a whole. You can also go through and push your main offer as well, although it does depend on what that offer is. For a period of time, I ran free inbound pipeline builds in which a lot of people went for that offer. When I go through and do a one-time offer or go straight into you having to pay, I get a lower conversion. Of course, I make more money, but I then get more people that go into lead magnets. Then I'm able to convert further or more as a high percentage down here when we go into our nurture. But ultimately, we have our lead magnets. They opt in, we send a lead magnet, we redirect them to a thank you page, and then they are in our email flows over on here, and then also within our newsletter. That's how we do it in YouTube, because again, we do not have messaging available. If you're on a platform like LinkedIn, slightly different. You can still go through and create content, but anyone who's engages with that content, you're not necessarily trying to push them to a lead magnet. You can then go and say, hey, so-and-so, I saw you messaged or commented on my post, you engaged on it. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Send a connection request. You can then just go through and send that. And then start a conversation from there and be able to send some resources if they need it. If not, you can talk and just have a conversation, figure out their pain point, and then provide a solution, which then of course requires them to, book a call with you. And then that's when you go through and pitch. But you need some sort of mechanism. Once that's done, you're pushing them to the main offer. You will have a percentage of people who will book a call. And then that's where we need to get them warmed up. We need to make sure that if they have come from our content, likely they have already, watched quite a bit, but it's not always guaranteed. Some people need different people need different level of trust. So some people will see a single video, be like, that's it, I'm all good. That's all I need to know, immediately buy. Other people need to watch quite a few different videos. Some people might be coming in different places. So I don't just run YouTube. I end up going through and using LinkedIn quite a bit, in which anyone who comes from YouTube tends to have a bit more of an understanding and also knows my message a bit more, as well as my pricing, because there's been more time that they've been able to spend with me, even though not literally, but through social media and through video content, compared to LinkedIn, where they've seen a text post and then we've had a few DMs and now they're coming into a sales call. So what I end up running is this. Whenever anyone goes through and books a call, whether it be referrals, content, cold outreach, job boards, of course, if you're going through and running ads or anything else out there, then of course, this will be part of this. this, but they're going to go through, book a call, in which I immediately add them to a newsletter. I redirect them to our confirmation page, and then they get a confirmation email, which is also an educational email. This is because, yeah, again, if they come from my content or like YouTube as a subcategory of content, they probably already know my process, but that's not to guarantee that everyone does. So if I get referrals, I want them to know my process of what it is that we do. If it's cold outreach, I want them to know. It all feeds back in, and it makes life a bit easier because they're probably going to be Googling me to go through and find out like my reputation, what people have said, what I've been able to go through and do. That by me just immediately redirecting them to having a confirmation email, which has a YouTube video where they can go through and watch, I'm taking them there to do the thing that they're probably going to go through and do anyway, which highlights quite a bit of confidence. So I would then go through, do that. About 3 hours later, after that email is sent, I then go through and give them a proof email. This is to act as a call reminder to say, hey, look, thank you very much for booking a call. We're going to be able to solve XYZ problem. And then from there, highlight that we've been able to go through and do it for so many other people. And we go through and list what it is. Now, it's going to be a bit of a range. And when I say that range, not everyone's going to be like a coach. Some might be a consultant. Some might be a fractional executive. And it does depend on who it is that's booked the call. And that's why we're trying to go from here. So we'll highlight examples of each because we want people who have booked the call to be like, hey, that's me. I've got that exact same problem. So we want as much proof as possible. And then it goes into call reminders, which are just 24 hours before, an hour before, and then I go through and do 5 minutes before, and then when the call starts. So this is just quite simply, hey, we got a call, which is at this time, just want to treat this as a reminder. This is the call link. You can click this and join at this time. If you want to reschedule, now's the time to go through and do it. I'm perfectly fine if they want to reschedule because I got my flow through there. Of course, I would want them to be there and show up for the call, but I understand that things happen. So I want it to be more of as a reminder to take one of two actions, reschedule or to actually show up. It's annoying when it's a no-show, but of course that does happen. So we want to make sure that we do increase the amount of people who are going to be showing to our calls, and this is how we go through and do it with our education, our proof, and then also going through and actually just having reminders as well. In which a few different situations, either there's a no-show, in which then it goes into our reschedule, in which it's a slightly different email campaign, and then it goes through and does the 24 hours reminders yet again. This is still given proof, but also education of why they need it, but it's a different type. It's not the same email here and the same email here that's going to be part of reschedule. The reschedule has two different emails. And then on top of that, it will then go into our call reminder, which is the same as what it was before. That could be a no-show reschedule, or they've just gone through and rescheduled. If they show, then of course you've got a few different outcomes in which it could either be the paid offer. We have a free offer that we can sometimes go through and do depending on time of the month, because we only go through and do limited slots. But we may sometimes have a free offer or a downsell that we end up going from pushing if there's objections to the price that we have with our main offer that we push. We then, of course, have people that say, hey, this is really interesting. We've got a few things going right now that we're looking to go through and get started this week or next week, or maybe, in a month from now, whatever it may be. In which then, of course, we go through and add them to follow-ups. And then anyone that's been lost, we still add them to a follow-up in that it might be, 90 days, 120 days, from the 180 days, for us to then go through and catch up, in which they go into a different sequence. But then at that point, of course, we're trying to go through and push people for the sell based on what we've got, which then, of course, goes into our paid onboarding. If we do run the free offer or a downsell, then we go through and put our free onboarding form. We still put in a second call, and then we're pushing to go through and highlight the upsell. So we go through and deliver it on a call, and then we push for an upsell. Anything else, we go through, add them to ClickUp. We then put them into a follow-up sequence, and we're either pushing onboarding, in which is either going to our free or even potentially paid offer, or is the case that it's rebooking, in which it then goes all the way back, sets up new reminders, and then on top of that sends different types of emails as well. So that's the full flow. It does go through quite a bit, but it's because there are quite a few steps that you would need to take someone off the platform to then actually be part of your newsletter, so that you can constantly be able to be in contact with them whenever it is that you want and not just rely on the algorithm. That's the downside with YouTube. But it then also means that there's quite a few gaps that we now need to go through and fill when we have a content pipeline like this, especially when someone goes from books to court, because that's the point in which we're able to make money. If we do not go through and fill in those holes, those gaps, then of course we're just leaking money, which is not ideal, because that's the thing that's going to be funding everything all the way up here with, that's the worst star ever, all the way up here with our videos, so we can actually push this pipeline and keep people flowing through this constantly. That is how you can build a funnel that will actually book calls, not just create content Calendly. If you're going through all of this and you're thinking, damn, that's actually quite overwhelming, there's a lot there. Well, the easiest place to start is step one, in which this video will show you how to go through and put together a content strategy that will align with your offer and your service. I hope you enjoy.